Stewart. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. There's ne'er a flower that blooms in May that half so welcomes thou art. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. There's ne'er a flower that blooms in May that half so welcomes thou art. Bumpers high, express your joy, the bowl we mun renew it. The tappet hen gave bringer ben to welcome Willie Stewart. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. There's ne'er a flower that blooms in May that half so welcomes thou art. Foes be strong and friends be slack, ilk action may he rue it. May women on her turn her back that welcomes Willie Stewart. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. There's ne'er a flower that blooms in May that half so welcomes thou art. Ah, you're welcome, Willie Stewart. You're welcome, Willie Stewart. There's ne'er a flower that blooms in May that half so welcomes thou art. Hello, and a very warm welcome to Nae Ordinary Burns Supper. Well, you may think that Burns Suppers were nae happening, but they're definitely happening in this kitchen and in this house this evening. And we're delighted to welcome you from wherever you are and whatever time zone you're in to celebrate the bard himself, Robert Burns. I feel so fortunate that given with all the COVID restrictions, we haven't had live Burns Suppers. So I've roped in a great bunch of friends who are here with me this evening. News Elders on guitar, Frank Thompson on accordion, Fergus Much on pipes and whistles, Paul Anderson on fiddle, Neil Burse on the keyboards, the University of Aberdeen Chamber Choir. You may have heard their dulcet tones joining in. Welcome, Willie Stewart. And coming up later, we've got some phenomenal guests. We have Mark Stephen, BBC broadcaster. We have my daughter, Sophie Kennedy Clark, BAFTA award winner. We have my husband, aka the golfer from the kitchen concerts. I've roped him in to do the address to the haggis. And we have Hollywood star and Broadway star Alan Cumming. Ooh. Ooh. I think you could do better than that. Ooh. But Nae Ordinary Burns Suppers would not be the same without my dear friend John Bett. A big round of applause.
It's lovely to be in your kitchen. Lovely to be back in Aberdeen, although I have to tell you, Robert Burns didn't think much of the place.
Really?
Yeah, he came here in 1787 and he said it was a lazy town.
Oh.
Mind you, it was a Sunday, so everybody was probably in the church already. Anyway.
We're not lazy tonight.
No, we're certainly not.
Hive of activity.
You asked me to bring some gravitas, so I've left that in the house and I brought a music stand instead. Okay, don't worry, I'm not going to sing.
Oh, that's a relief. I'll leave it to you.
Yeah. I'm not a great singer, and neither, ladies and gentlemen, was Robert Burns. He played the fiddle, but he didn't sing. His mother was a great singer. Although she was illiterate and had no formal education, she had a vast repertoire of old Scottish songs. And Burns drew on that when he came to write his own songs. During his short lifetime, he made trips up to the Highlands and to the Lowlands, and he picked up songs en route. He played the fiddle himself, and a lot of the old songs were fiddle tunes. And that's why a lot of Burns songs are difficult to sing, because they have a great tonal range of the fiddle, and these are tricky for the human voice. Songs like the wonderful Rosebud by My Early Walk. I'm sure you members of the choir will appreciate that's quite difficult to sing. But one of the most famous love songs is, of course, My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. Robert Zimmerman, Bob Dylan to us, Nobel Prize winner, he thought that My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose is the most perfect love song ever. Burns wrote it for his wife, Jean Armour, and she had a lovely voice, we understand, and she sang it back to him. And it'd be nice to think that he maybe accompanied her on the fiddle. It is a picture of domestic harmony we don't normally associate with Rabbie Burns. Oh, my love's like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. Oh, my love's like the melody that's sweetly played in tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. And fare thee will, my only love, and fare thee will a while. And I will come again, my love, though it were 10,000 miles.
Thank you, Paul Anderson. We'll be hearing more from Paul Anderson later. But right now, I'd like the choir to come and join me because Robert Burns, of course, we all know that he wrote a book called the Kilmarnock Edition. And after the Kilmarnock Edition was published, he became enormously famous. And he was feted by all the fine people, the lawyers and the doctors and the aristocrats in Edinburgh. And indeed, even the Earl of Selkirk himself asked if he would write a grace. So tonight, we're going to have the University of Aberdeen Chamber Choir sing the grace, which was written by Thomas Lavoy, himself a graduate of the University of Aberdeen, the Selkirk Grace.
Some hae meat and cannot eat, and some would eat that want it. But we hae meat and we can eat, so let the Lord be thanked. Some hae meat and some hae eat, and some would eat, and some would eat, and some would eat that want it. And we can eat, so let the Lord be thanked. Say, let the Lord be thanked.
Far fair your honest sonsy face, great chieftain o' the puddin' race. Abune them a ye tak your place, plench triper therm. We'll are ye worthy your grace, as lang's my arm. The groaning trencher there you fill, your hardies like a distant hill. Your pin would help to mend a nail in time of need, while through your pores the dews distill, like amber bead. His knife, see rustic labour dicht, and cut you up with ready slicht, trenching your gushels and bricht like ony ditch. And oh, what a sicht, warm, reeking rich. Then horn for horn they stretch and strive, deal tack the hindmost on they drive, till all their wheel-swilt kites belive are bent like drums. Then all guid man may slike to rive, be thankit hums. Is there o'er his French ragout, or olio would star sow, or fricassee would mac or spew, with perfect sconner, looks down and sneering scornful view on sick a dinner. Poor devil see him o'er his trash, as feckless as the withered rash, his spindle shank a guid whip lash, his neve in it, through bloody flood or field to dash, oh how unfit. But mark the rustic haggis fed, the trembling earth resounds his tread, clapping his wally neve a blade, he'll mack it whistle, and legs and arms and heads'll snap like taps a thistle. Ye powers wha mat mankind their care, and dish them out their bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae stinking ware that jaups and luggies. But if you seek her grateful prayer, gie her a haggis. Piper, will you take a dram?
Absolutely.
Mr. Bag Carrier, will you take a dram?
Okay.
And I will have a wee dram myself.
Could I have one?
No? You know what you like to drink? Cheers. It's argumentative. Never allowed more than 2 drinks. She gets argumentative. Cheers.
Quick, play us out,
Right.
Fergus, on you go. done. Well done.
Well done.
That was it's quite a challenge learning all of that.
It certainly is.
And given that you and I have done these kitchen concerts, well, you've actually done very little in my kitchen.
Very little.
In my kitchen concerts, except interrupt
Yep.
and give me
Create
difficult...
havoc and a few choice words which people don't know.
Exactly.
Education.
All education.
Yep.
But it's lovely to see you all.
It's a great privilege to be here amongst all these erudite, young, talented people.
But it's lovely to be dressed in our own kitchen, because for all this time, I think it's fair to say we haven't really dressed up.
No. And even in the garage we had on hats and coats and all sorts of things. Yeah.
I know. Well, here we are, and we're going to go over now to a lovely chef, the Kilted Chef, in Udney Green. Craig Wilson is whipping up some wicked dessert and maybe a little cocktail. Over to you, Craig.
Good evening. What a lovely Burns night we're having. They say home is where the heart is, and this is exactly where I am. So welcome. So let's get a drink on the go this Burns night. We're going to start off with a local Glengarry whiskey. I've got 50 mils of whiskey into the glass. I've got 50 mils of lemon juice. I have also got a brown sugar syrup with a little bit of water blended through. A teaspoon of some lovely Scottish honey, and my secret ingredient, a little splash of the clove bitters. Giving it a good mix up, serving it over ice with a nice little bit of ginger. Slange. It's actually very nice warm as well. Now for a super easy dessert this Burns night, I have caramelised up some butteries. Yes, the Rowie or butteries are famous in the northeast of Scotland, and a little bit of sugar into the pan. We have, even the parrot loves them, and we have got some fresh raspberries, a splash of Chambord, a good splash of Chambord. I've got some semi-whipped cream to serve on top, and a little bit more Scottish. How can you get it any more Scottish? With a little bit of crumbled tablet and a few raspberries on the top. Over to you, Fiona, and boxing it up, ready for you.
Fantastic. I will be trying that wonderfully interesting recipe and a whiskey cocktail straight after this. I'm joined now, I'm delighted to see you, Mark Stephen, BBC broadcaster, journalist. Lovely to have you here in the kitchen.
I laughed at that word interesting. My mother uses the word interesting when what she really means is, really?
Tell me, I have watched you in many village halls doing tam o'shanter, like I've never seen it done before, and looking forward to seeing that later on. What is tam o'shanter really all about?
I reckon it's certainly the finest narrative poem in the Scots language, and it's probably one of the finest narrative poems in any language. Right. There is a connection to you here, actually, because I know you've been married to Francis a long time, since he cradle snatched you. But Burns actually wrote tam o'shanter for another Francis, Captain Francis Grose, who was compiling a book of superstitions and legends and ghost stories. And he said to Burns, "You got anything that would fit in this?" And he didn't. But he went away and created tam o'shanter. And it means lucky tam. And so the legend goes, he started off one morning, walked out of the farm at Ellisland, went down beside the river, and all day his family could look out the window and see him, and he was talking to himself and waving his arms a bit and bursting out laughing. There was nobody else there. And he came back, and he sat them down at supper, by candlelight, and he told them tam o'shanter, from stem to stern, 226 lines. I mean, an astonishing feat. It's huge fun to do.
Yeah, well, we are really looking forward to seeing it later on. I'm going to leave you now, and I'm going to ask the choir to move through to the grand piano, because they're going to be singing something fantastic very soon. But we're looking forward to seeing you later.
Good.
Thanks, Mark.
No problem.
And I'll just follow you through. I'm longing to hear the immortal memory, which has been written by Thomas Lavoy, a former graduate of the University of Aberdeen. But of course, the members of the choir are not all students of music. They study anthropology, zoology, computing, science, primary school teachers. There's a wealth of studies going on at Aberdeen. And here we are. You're waiting. How lovely and perfect. I'm really looking forward to hearing the immortal memory.
No more these simple flows belong to Scottish maid and lover.
That was absolutely beautiful. If Burns were alive today, he'd be a global sensation. He'd never be off the box. He would be on the Graham Norton show more times than Miriam Margolyes. He would be in the front cover of women's magazines, Gay Times and Farming Today. He would have his own Netflix series, Rantin', Rovin', Robin, and of course he'd have the Nobel Prize for Literature. After all, he's written more songs than Bob Dylan. He would, of course, be super rich with all these product endorsements, shortbread, whiskey, tea towels, condoms. He'd be the toast of Tinseltown. Johnny Depp would play him in the biopic. Leonardo DiCaprio would be Tam O'Shanter. And, of course, Holy Willie would be played by Mel Gibson. And what about Mel Streep? Well, Mel Streep would bound to be in there. You can bet your last Bobby she'd be there, playing Helen Mary or maybe Elsa Craig. But what am I talking about? Burns died in 1796 at the age of 37, and he is already a global sensation. His songs are sung all over the world, from Tasmania to Timbuktu. He's feted and argued over from Manila to Moscow, from Cape Cod to the Cape of Good Hope. His love songs make people cry, and his satiric verses and comic songs make people laugh. His merry muses of Caledonian are spoken of in delighted whispers, while his anthems of international friendship, Auld Lang Syne and Man's a Man for All That, shouted from the rooftops and sung with ardour and joy. No other writer in the world received such adulation. The closest, I suppose, is Shakespeare, but we don't toast him and have a supper every year to roast beef, get out the butt of Malmsey. No. Burns is a global sensation, and he is unique. Ladies and gentlemen, let us do what every person has done since yon time, and get their glasses, there's my drink there, and we'll toast together the immortal memory of Robert Burns. Ladies and gentlemen,
The immortal memory of Robert Burns.
cheers. Burns was a young man. He wrote of his writing ambitions thus: "Even then I wish I mind its power. I wish that to my latest hour shall strongly heave my breast, that I, for poor old Scotland's sake, some useful plan or book may make, or sing or sang at least." And he certainly did that. Over 132 songs he wrote. And Fiona is now going to sing one of them. Originally, it was a bawdy ballad, but Burns, with his genius, fashioned it into a love song of old age. John Anderson, My Joe. She will be accompanied by Neil Elders on the guitar.
John Anderson, my Joe, John, when we were still acquaint, your locks were like the raven, your bonny brow was brent, but knew your brow is bell, John, your locks are like the snow. But blessings on your frosty palm, John Anderson, my Joe. John Anderson, my Joe, John, we climb the hill together, and money a canty day, John, we had with another, but we might all do, John, and hand in hand we'll go, and we'll sleep together at the feet, John Anderson, my Joe. John Anderson, my Joe.
My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer, a-chasing the wild deer, and following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go. Farewell to the Highlands, farewell to the north, the birthplace of valour, the country of worth. Wherever I wander, wherever I rove, the hills of the Highlands, forever I love. Farewell to the mountains, high covered with snow. Farewell to the straths and green valleys below. Farewell to the forests and wild hanging woods. Farewell to the torrents and loud pouring floods. My heart's in the Highlands, my heart is not here. My heart's in the Highlands, a-chasing the deer. My heart's in the Highlands, a-following the roe. My heart's in the Highlands, wherever I go.
That was lovely. It's so beautiful, and actually it's just lovely to have you home. Our elder daughter, she loves to sing, and one of her party pieces is Ye Banks and Braes. It's her favourite Burns tune, and I'm really delighted that the University of Aberdeen Chamber Choir, conducted by Sam Paul, are going to sing Ye Banks and Braes. One of Burns' finest, absolutely stunning. Well, we have a magnificent choir, we have a fantastic cast, but we also have a Hollywood and Broadway movie star, Alan Cumming.
Is there for honest poverty that hangs his head and all that? The coward slave we pass him by, we dare be poor for all that. For all that and all that, our toils obscure and all that. The rank is but the guinea's stamp. the man's the man for all that. What though on hamely fare we dine, we're hodden grey and all that? Gie fools their silks, and knaves their wine, a man's a man for all that. For all that and all that, their tinsel show and all that. The honest man, though e'er sae poor, is king o' men for all that. You see yon Berkey called a lord, with struts and stairs and all that. Though hundreds worship at his word, he's but a coof for all that. For all that and all that, the ribbon star and all that. The man o' independent mind, he looks and laughs at all that. A prince can mak a belted knight, a marquis, duke, and all that. But an honest man's aboon his might. Good faith, he mauna fa that. For all that and all that, their dignities and all that, the pith o' sense and pride o' worth, are higher rank than all that. Then let us pray that come it may as come it will for all that. That sense and worth o'er all the earth shall bear the gree and all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet for all that. That man to man, the world o'er, shall brothers be for all that.
Do you like ghost stories? Yes. Are you ready for one of the finest ghost stories ever? Tam O'Shanter, Lucky Tam, Mark Stephen.
As Chapman Billy's tack the street, and drouthy neighbours meet. As market days are growing late and folk begin to tap the gate, whiles we sit boozing at the nappy, getting fou and unca happy. We think, the long Scots miles, the mosses, waters, slaps and stiles that lie atween us and our hame, where sits our sulky, sullen dame, gathering her brews like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth found honest Tam O'Shanter as he frae air and nicked canter, all there, where ne'er a tune surpasses for honest men and bonny lasses. Oh, Tam, had thou but been so wise as ta'en thy ain wife Kate's advice, she telt thee well thou was a skellum, a blevin, blustering, drunken blelum, that frae November till October, ae market day that wasna sober. That ilka melder with a miller thou sat as long as thou had siller. That every nag was cart a shoe on the smith and they got roaring foo on. She prophesied that later soon there would be found deep drooned in Doon, or catched by warlocks in the Mark, by Alloway's old haunted kirk. Gentle dames. It gars me great to see how many counsels sweet, how many length and sage advices the husband frae the wife despises. But to our tale. A market night, Tam had got planted unca right, fast by an ingle blazing finely, with reeman swats that drank divinely, and at his elbow suitor Johnny, his ancient, trusty, drouthy Tony. Tam looed him like a very brother. They had been fou for weeks together. The night drave on with sangs and clatter, and aye, the ale was growing better. The landlady and Tam grew gracious, with favours secret, sweet, and precious. The suitor told his queerest stories. The landlord's wrath was ready chorus. Care, mad to see a man sae happy, e'en drooned himsel among the nappy. As bees flee hame with lades of treasure, the minutes winged their way with pleasure. But kings may be blessed, but Tam was glorious, o'er all ills of life victorious. But pleasures are like poppies spread, you pluck the flower, its bloom is shed. Or like the snowfall in the river, a moment white, then gone forever. Or like the borealis race that flit ere you can point the place. Or like the rainbow's lovely form of vanishing amid the storm. Nae man mun tether time nor tide. The hour approaches, Tam mun ride. That hour in night's black arch the keystane. That dreary hour he mounts his beast in, and sick a night he taks the road in, as ne'er poor sinner was abroad in. The wind blew as 'twould blawn its last. The rattling shores rose on the blast. The speedy gleams the darkness swallowed. Loud, deep, and lang the thunder bellowed. That night, a child might understand. The deil had business on his hand. Wheel mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg, Tam skelpit on through dubs and mire, despising wind and rain and fire, whilst hooding on his good blue bonnet, whilst crooning on an old Scots sonnet, whilst glowering round with prudent cares, lest bogles catch him unawares. Kirkalloway was drawing nigh, where ghosts and hoolits nichly cry. By this time he was crossed the ford where in the snow the chapman smoored, and by the birks in Meeklestane where drunken Charlie brak next bane, and through the whins and by the cairn where hunters found the murdered bairn, and near the thorn aboon the well where Mungo's mither hinged hersel. Before him Doon pours all its floods. The doubling storm roars through the woods. The lightnings flash from pole to pole. Near and more near the thunders roll. When glimmering through the groaning trees, Kirkalloway seemed in a blaze. Through ilka bore the beams were glancing, and loud resounded mirth and dancing. Inspiring bold John Barleycorn, what dangers thou can make a scorn. With tippenny, we fear nae evil. With Uskaba, we'd face the deal. The swat sae reimed in Tammy's Norrell, fair play. He cared nae deals a boddle, but Maggie stood, like stare astonished, till by the heel and hand admonished she ventured forward in the light, and vow, Tam saw an unca sight. Witches and warlocks in a dance, so nae cotillion Brent knew fae France, but hornpipes, jigs, thruspes and reels, put life and metal in their heels. A winnock bunker in the east, there sat Al Nick in shape a beast, a towsy tyke, black, grim and large, to gie the music was his charge. He screwed the pipes and gart them skirl, till roof and rafters added dirl. Coffins stood round like open presses that showed the dead in their last dresses, and by some devilish cantrip slicht, each in his cold hand held a licht, by which heroic Tam was able to spy upon the haly table wee unchristened bairns. A thief new cutted frae the rape, wi' his last gasp his gab did gape. 5 tomahawks were murder rusted, 5 scimitars with blood encrusted, with mair a horrible and awful that even to name would be unlawful. As Tammy glowered, amazed and curious, the mirth and fun grew fast and furious. The piper loud and louder blew, the dancer quick and quicker flew. They crossed, they reeled, they set, they creaked, till ilka carlin swat and reekit, and cooster duddies to the wark, and linkit at it in her sark. Oh, Tam, 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 had they been quines, oh, plump and strapping in their teens. Their sarks, instead of creashy flannin, been snow white, 1700 linen. These bricks of mine, my only pair. The aince were plush, a good blue hair. I would have gied them off my hardies for a blink of the bonny birdies. But withered beldams, old and droll, rigwoody hags with spain a foal, louping and flinging on a crummock. Blah, I wouldn't didna turn thy stomach. But Tam kent what was wet fu brawly. There was a winsome wench in Whalley that nicked enlisted in the corps. Long after Kent and Carrick shore, for mony a beast to dead she shot, and perished mony a bonny boat, and shook both meikle corn and beer, and held the countryside in fear. Her cutty sark o' paisley harn, that while a lassie she had worn, in longitude, though sorely scanty, it was her best, and she was vanity. Little kenned I Reverend Granny, that sark she coughed for her wee nanny, with £2 Scots to us a' her riches, would ever grace a dance o' witches. But here my muse her wingman cower. Sick flights are far beyond her power, to tell how Nanny lap and flang, a supple jade she was and strang. How Tammy stood like ane bewitched, and thocht his very een enriched. Even Satan glowered and fidged fu fain, and hucht and blew wi' micht and main, till first he caper, sign another. Tam tints his reason together and roars out, "Well done, Cutty Sark!" And in an instant all was dark, And scarcely had he Maggie rallied when out the hellish legion sallied, as bees fizz out wi' angry fyke when plundering herds assail their bike, as open pussy's mortal foes when pop she starts afore their nose, as eager runs the market crowd when catch the thief resounds aloud. So Maggie runs, the witches follow, when Winoni and elders streak and hallo, tam, 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 they'll get thy faring, in hell they'll roast thee like a herring, in vain thy Kate awaits thy coming, Kate soon will be a woeful woman, now do thy speedy utmost beg, to the winning the keystone of the brig, thereat and thou thy tell me tross, a running stream the darena cross, but ere the keystone she could make, the fint the tail she had to shake, for Nanny, far afore the rest, hard upon noble Maggie pressed, but little was she Maggie's mettle, spring brocht off her master hail, and left behind her ain grey tail. The carlin clocked her by the rump, and left poor Maggie scarce a stump. Now, why this tale of truth shall read, ilk man and mother son take heed. When to drink ye are inclined, or cutty sarks run in your mind, think ye might buy your joys our dear. Remember Tam O'Shanter's Mere. Thank you. Thank you very much, folks. Delighted to say sing us out now. Lovely voice of Fiona Donaldson.
Oh, rattle and roar and willie, oh, he held tae the fair, for to sell his fiddle and buy some hither ware. But Perton wi his fiddle, the salty blint is he. Oh, rattle and roar and willie, you're welcome him to me. Oh, will I come sell your fiddle so fine. Will I come sell your fiddle and buy a pint of wine? If I was to sell my fiddle, the world would think I was mad. For money's a rantin' day, my fiddle and I he had, as I can buy Crochal and a Connolly kick at Ben. Rattle and roar and Willie was sitting at yon burden among great company. Oh, rattle and roar and Willie, you're welcome him to me. Oh, will I come sell your fiddle so fine. Will I come sell your fiddle and buy a pint of wine? If I was to sell my fiddle, the world would think I was mad. For money's a rantin' day, my fiddle and I had. Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him feet a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him feet a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. I get up to dance to our power Paladin at his daddy's yet. Oh, met me but Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him feet a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him fint a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. Robin promised me, oh, has a winter of it all, faith he had but 3 goose feathers and a whittle. Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him fint a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him fint a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. Was now Robin bold, though he was a cutter, played me sick a turrick, and me the elder's doctor. Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him fint a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. Robin sure and Hurst, I sure we him fint a hucadai, yet I stuck by him. Up with the curls a dizer, tan a lads a Buckhaven, and the kimmers a largo, and the lasses a leave, and hike a through, for we him a caladu, hike a through, for we him a caladu. We had tales to tell, and we had songs to sing, we had pennies to spend, and we had pints to bring. Hike a through, for we him a caladu, hike a through, for we him a caladu. We had tales to tell, and we had songs to sing, we had pennies to spend, and we had pints to bring. Hike a through, for we him a caladu, hike a through, for we him a caladu. Up with the curls a dizer, tan a lots of Buckhaven, and the kimmers a largo, and the lasses a leave, and hike a through, for we him a caladu, hike a through, for we him a caladu, hike a through, for we him a caladu, hike a through, for we him a caladu.
The wonderful Fiona Donaldson. Now over to the wonderful Frank Thompson and the band. the young Chevalier. Oh, Charlie is my darling, my darling, my darling. Charlie is my darling, the young Chevalier. As he was walking down the street, the city for to view, oh, there he spied a bonny lass, the windy peeking through. Oh, it was a bit more of a no than that. Charlie is my darling, my darling, my darling. Charlie is my darling, the young Chevalier. Say light, he jumped up the stair and tirled on the pin, and was say ready as hersel to let the laddie in. Oh, Charlie is my darling, my darling, my darling. Charlie is my darling, the young Chevalier. He set his Jenny on his knee, all in his Highland dress, and brawly weel he kent the way to treat a bonny lass. Oh, Charlie is my darling, my darling, my darling. Charlie is my darling, the young Chevalier. It's up yon scroggy mountain and down yon heathery glen, we darna gang a milking for Charlie and his men. Oh, Charlie is my darling, my darling, my darling. Charlie is my darling, the young Chevalier. One more time. Charlie is my darling, my darling, my darling. Charlie is my darling. To be mad, but it really helps, and thank you all for joining in the madness. Oh, what a lovely evening we've all had. It's been such a treat to have everyone, all our wonderful guests, and thank you so much. We hope that you have enjoyed it wherever you are in the world, and that you feel a sense of Scottishness, a sense of Robert Burns, and there is no finer song to finish our evening and our Nae Ordinary Burns Supper than the international song of friendship. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne, for old lang syne, for old lang syne, we'll tak a cup o' kindness yet, for old lang syne. Should old acquaintance be